Hi, how are you doing today? It's been 3 days since I spoke on mindset, which has been my topic every day. I've been speaking about mindset from the perspective of a business. And let me first talk about what mindset is all about. Mindset is about the way we are perceiving reality, the way we are thinking by connecting the dots, the way we are deciding either by our gut or intuition or by assessing the benefits and effort involved, and finally, the way we are acting and responding with consistency and conviction. I've been speaking about mindset because I believe if we can understand what mindset is all about, and more importantly, the fact that mindset is driven by each of our individual, extremely personal, emotional experiences we have had in the past, which are stored in our subconscious. If we understand that the mindset is based on that, and that our brain is constantly doing predictions in terms of what's going to happen next, and based on that we are actually perceiving, thinking, deciding, and acting. So it's something which is very interesting to note that our brain is continuously predicting, our mind is predicting. I say mind is the software, brain is the hardware, so I could possibly interchange these two terms, so please don't get confused. Mind is the hardware, software, and brain is the hardware. So I'm talking about brain predicting continuously. And if you like to know a little more about that, search for Bereitschaftspotential, which is in English called as readiness potential, a concept which was researched by a German psychologist by name Kornhuber, and later repeated in San Francisco by another gentleman by name Libet, which talks about the fact that whatever we are thinking, the subconscious is already preparing the next action, the next activity that we're going to do, the next response that we're going to give about 500 milliseconds before actually giving the response or acting. And the conscious mind, or we recognize that we are going to be doing that about 200 milliseconds before we actually do it. So that's the magic of mindset. And therefore, whatever that we are doing is basically driven by these predictions. And these predictions happen in real time. When I say real time, it's really, what should I say, something crazy to imagine. The amount of information that is there. You just look at. I think all of you must be having a mobile phone camera, and then in a mobile phone there is a camera, and in the camera you take a photo with some X number of megapixels, 32 or 42 or whatever it is. So imagine having a photo of that kind, and within an instant, even less than a second, to be able to perceive what is located where, what is a threat, what is not a threat, what is nice, what is not nice, what are the colors. The entire thing has to happen instantaneously. I'm talking about instantaneously, because you don't take a time like in your smartphone. I'm sure it would take a couple of seconds sometimes to open up a photo, to really see the photo. And here your brain has captured that photo, looked at what is around, and then made an assumption, judgment as to whether it's going to be helpful, not helpful, what to look for, and all that happened so far. And that's because the brain already predicted what you're going to see based on the constant evolution that has happened, based on your background and based on your experiences. It is already predicted, and based on that prediction is something what you see as a picture. Therefore, all you are doing is only comparing the differences, and therefore it becomes very easy to understand what you see and perceive what you see very quickly, almost in an instant. I keep sharing this example, which I want to do today also. Whenever we have gone to any uh, bird sanctuary or jungle safari, my wife and daughter have been able to spot the animals much easier than me. There, possibly their mindset is really akin to recognizing a presence of a tiger or a elephant or a deer, or maybe a cuckoo or a owl in the bird sanctuary or in the jungle. By my brain is not trained like that. My brain is more analytical, more rational. Therefore, I can't see that. On the other hand, if I walk on a shop floor in a company, I can see all bits and pieces lying on the shop floor without anybody noticing that at all. Maybe my brain is trained like that. It's really fantastic. You look at it. What is it that your brain is trained for? What is that you can capture which the others can't? And that's only because of your background and predictions. There's nothing uh, strange about it. And if that has to be changed, If that has to be evolved, then only thing we can do is debate and discuss. Because as adults, that's the only channel we have got to communicate with our mind, communicate with our conscious and subconscious. So we need to just debate and discuss. Reflecting is good in one way because you are only doing self-talk there, whereas when you're discussing and debating, you're doing it along with people, and that's more effective. And that's what will change the mindset. Now, why do I talk about mindset? Is the next topic which I'm going to will be talking about. See, I'm an engineer, like I said. I think very rationally. I'm very, very analytical in nature. I'm a process-minded guy. And why the hell do I talk about mindset, which is totally diametrically opposite? It's something which is extremely subjective. There is no, what should I say, numbers which you can calculate. There is no logic. It's all based on perceptions, and maybe quantum physics could be applied here. I'm not very sure. Physics is definitely not possible because there is no logic many a times what we do. And that is because of a conscience is what people say, right? And we have a conscience. And the reason for that is very simple. When we have to do something, then it is easy for us to find a solution, define what needs to be done. The tougher challenge is to be doing that activity, whatever be it. Let me talk about one job which the sales guys have to do, because today's or this week's sharpening theme is sales. Today it is sales, which we need to be sharpening about. So let me talk about something which is very classical. It's about payment collections. I think I spoke about that some time back. I repeat that once again. Payment collection is very simple. If anybody asks what is selling, selling is to sell a product and get the money, right? It's not just get an order saying that I want the product, but I don't give you the money now. I'll give it later. And then somebody else has to collect the money. That's not selling. That's not selling at all. It's rock bottom common sense. So if that is the common sense, then selling means you sell a product, get the order, and after that collect the money too. In most of the companies, the money collection is not done by the sales guy at all. It is given to the finance guy. I had explained that earlier. I speak about that once more today. And that's the reason why mindset is required. See, sales mindset, if it comprises of selling, getting the order, and collecting the money, then the companies will prosper. Because then you are looking at a comprehensive, complete sales process, which doesn't happen at all. Because though my logic and the accepted knowledge says that selling is about selling a product and getting the money, but somehow my mindset doesn't allow me to look at collecting the money, because that's something which is somebody else's job, not my job. And maybe you can say the organizations have done it that way also. To some extent, it could be true, but in the best of the best multinational companies, it's not the case at all. The guy who sold is equally responsible for getting the money. Payment collection is his 100% job and part of his job description. So that is something which is very, very interesting. Many commonsensical things are not done when it comes to practicing it, and that's the reason why we don't do it, is because of mindset. Because our mindset doesn't allow. Because our experiences have not allowed us to do that, and therefore it doesn't allow for whatever reason. And the only way to change that is to start discussing, start talking, and that's what Duho is all about, which is what I have invented. You can check it out. But anyway, today I'm not really focused on talking about Duho, but my main theme is the quarterly business plan which I had prepared, which is what I've been talking about to help change mindset. So why is that required to change the mindset? It's quite interesting. In organizations, you can change mindset by multiple ways. One is to do coaching. When you are getting people involved in coaching conversations and coaching assignments, then the mindset can be changed, because you get the coach to ask questions with which the coachee would reflect, coachee would answer, try to discover the answers. And that's again interesting. For changing the mindset, one has to discover the answers themselves. It is not possible to go and sit in a class for a couple of days and think that your mindset would be changed. No, it won't happen at all. Mindset can be changed only by self discovery. That is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it, which is what I feel is possibly to some extent missing in many organizations, is a structured regular review. When I say structured regular review, I'm talking about the daily review, talking about a weekly review. Weekly review would be more to do with sharpening, which is to really look at how good you are doing your job, and is something working fine, not working fine. How about that? That is the second activity. And the third would be to do a monthly business review and a quarterly stakeholder satisfaction review, where you're talking about the overall value creation. That is the concept of the quarterly business plan. So today we would be talking about the daily review, which I do every day. So let me go through that very briefly. A daily review starts with a scoreboard, which is absolutely necessary. Again, here it's quite ironical, and again, because of mindset. There is nothing strange about it. All of us are very strong fans of cricket or football, or in some game or other, basketball or something like that. Whenever we are watching the game, we are equally interested in knowing what the score is, because that's what that really gives the thrill to watch a game. I don't think you would be interested in watching a game without a score at all. You don't want to count how many sixes somebody scored, or how many wickets somebody took in a cricket match, or how many goals did somebody get in a football match, soccer match, or how many baskets did somebody get in a basketball match. If, let us say, you forget about that, but only look at how good he's playing, how good is he batting, how good is he driving, how good is he throwing the ball, how good is he jumping, how good is he dribbling, that is okay, but that is not going to really give you so much amount of excitement as seeing that combined with the score. Whereas in companies, in organizations, many a times we do see that, but not with the score. So scoreboard is extremely important. Without score, it doesn't make. Again, here it's mindset. When you could do that in a game, why not do it in a professional activity? Because those are all professional players. We are only observers. Whereas in the official roles, in our professional roles, we are the players and somebody else are the observers. So we have to know the score. What is the score? So first is the scoreboard which can be perceived, understood by everybody very quickly within a second to understand what the current reality is. That is the first topic. Scoreboard should cover all aspects of delivery, quality, then employee morale, cost, then productivity. Then you can talk about the responses giving to the customers. All aspects of a business, right? And once the scoreboard is spoken about, then you talk about the success and failure, what you had yesterday, and what was the reason for that, and from that what learning you had, and from that learning what are you going to do differently. The key is to talk about what you're going to do differently, rather than talking about, oh, I learned something. No, what are you going to do differently to incorporate that learning? That is the second topic, which is talk about the successes and failures. You can learn from both success and failure, need not be only from failure or only from success. Then the rolling plan, that is extremely important on a daily basis. What is the rolling plan? Rolling plan talks about 5 days, that is yesterday, today, which is a confirmed frozen plan to make everybody in the meeting confirm that they have already ensured that all that they could do, all that they need to prepare for today's plan is ready, which is the full kit for today. And for tomorrow, they are confirming that I am going to make the full kit ready by today before I go home. And for day after tomorrow, that was a plan which you had discussed as a possibility yesterday. So that today you're going to freeze that plan for day after tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow you're going to be talking about what is your wish list, what do you want to do day after tomorrow. And for that, again, people would have to see if the readiness is possible, full kit is possible, and then get back tomorrow to be frozen tomorrow. That's the basic idea of 5 day rolling plan. Then deviation management for any problems you had, or any irritants you had, or any deviations from a standard you observed. And then comes the job of confirming that the teamwork is running smoothly despite conflicts. I say teamwork has to have a conflict. Teams have to have a conflict. If you have a team which doesn't have a conflict, then something fundamentally wrong. You're not chosen the partners, the team members correctly. Because team members, each one come with their own mindset, therefore conflict is bound to be there. But the charm is to use that conflict to get the best out of the team. And that is the basic idea of resolving the conflicts when you talk about ensuring seamless teamwork. And then very important to talk about recognitions and celebrations to make sure that the team is energized for the next day. And finally, talk about any escalations, reporting, or approvals that you need to seek from higher ups for the next day, for that day or the next day or whatever. So these are the 7 topics which you need to talk during the day. This can be applied for manufacturing, for services, for trading, any organization. Is the same thing. The logic is the same. Only the scoreboard should be different, and the topics should be different. The context should be different. But the agenda points are the same for all the industries. It doesn't really change in any case at all. Now, once that is done, we go to the weekly sharpening, where we basically look at some particular topic and then go a little more deep into it and try to understand what can be done. Today is sales. So there you first start with the open points list, whatever actions you have discussed, whether it is working or not. Then talk about the deviations, the most important ones which you have observed, and try to find out what the root cause was. Define a corrective and a preventive action for that. And finally, talk about a contingency buffer. Contingency buffer is very critical. Let us say you have got a sales target. You are in retail sales and your target is to sell 1 lakh rupees today. And you have a team of 5 sales reps. and you need to really get them to go to various shops and then book orders worth 1 lakh rupees today. So it's important that you make sure that the team departs the gate. You normally conduct in such a organization what is called as a gate meeting. You depart the gate with an idea of achieving 110, 1,10,000 rupees, because the 10 is required for any emergency, any contingency. That's the contingency buffer. So for any plan, any target, you need to have a contingency buffer, and you check about the contingency buffers you have planned in your sales for your sales targets. That is the next activity in your weekly sharpening review. This week, I'll only talk about one topic for the sales. See, right now we are going through a very bad time, COVID pandemic, and businesses are pretty well or totally hit. There's no word for that. Uh, and what one could be doing in the sales function now to contribute to the business. One is to make sure that your collections are done on time. At least that will ensure that the cash flow will be improved. And the second is when you're getting new orders, try to see if you can get some advance for the order so that the company need not invest and take out from the working capital for investing for that new order. And the third is try to see if you can cater to those customers whom you have never spoken to till now, because there are some products and services which always have a demand. And during that time, if you can offer things like, let us say you're offering a penalty for delaying in supplies, then it's a kind of a mafia offer. People will be interested in taking your services. Or let us say you're offering MOQ of one, whatever you're doing. That is also another thing which people will be interested in taking, because right now nobody would be interested in taking a big bulk quantity and then stocking up in their stores, because the money will get locked. For that, of course, you need to discuss and get an agreement with your operations and design team that it is possible to make a MOQ of one. And the second is to also talk to your management and try to see if they're in agreement to accept penalties for delivering late, because right now, since the volumes are down, capacity is not a problem at all. Therefore, I don't think there should be any issue at all in delivering on time, with, of course, good planning and follow-up processes in your company. Should that be there, then you could go ahead and offer a discount. That's the next thing which is possible. So that's something which we can talk about. Capturing new markets is basically the idea in sales for ensuring that the company gets further improved upon, and also you barge into new customers, new clients, which could be different platform for you to start off once the economy picks up. So that's as far as the sales is concerned. Then let's get back to briefly the weekly tasks on the quarterly business plan. This week we have got totally 3 tasks to do. One is succession planning and career planning for your employees, your teams individually. And this is something which generally is done confidentially. You don't publicize the succession and career planning, but then that is done collectively. It's not just one person who's doing it. It's a collective, collaborative thing that is done for a higher hierarchy, for a lower hierarchy by a higher hierarchy. Succession planning and career planning is something which you need to look at, and then talk about a market forecast for the next 3 years. 3 years is a long term now. I don't want to talk about long term of 10 years and all. I'll only take 3 years as a long term. Do a 3 years market forecast to at least get an idea what are you going to do, and then try to complete your PESTLE and SWOT analysis. PESTLE is political, economic, social, and technological, and L is legal and environmental, and SWOT is strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. That analysis you need to do so that you are ready for preparing the strategy in the next coming weeks as we move along for the quarterly business plan. So these 3 tasks have to be done this week: succession and career planning, market forecast for 3 years, and then PEST and SWOT, or PESTLE and SWOT analysis, which needs to be done. So with that, I come to the end of today's discussion on mindset. See, I've talked about mindset and explain all these things because if we have got a mindset, yesterday I wrote a blog on cost savings or dominating cash flow in this situation, and then I spoke about comparing that with manufacturing setup and how one could dominate the cash flow by by making sure that it is stable. That means you are able to maintain the cash flow with a certain amount of stability. And the second is it is also capable. That means it's capable with respect to your desire. Let us say your desire and requirement is to have 6 months cash flow coverage. Then you should be able to achieve that coverage without any problem. These are the 2 things: stability and capability. When I talk about that, it's all about mindset. First is how many people in your organization are clear about the cash flow coverage. or everybody from top to bottom, because everybody involved is involved in cash flow. A simple decision of wanting urgently to replace a screw in a machine shop, which can possibly go on for another 4 weeks, will impact the cash flow. A simple decision of procuring 3 items instead of 1 item because the vendor wants to give a discount will impact the cash flow. A simple decision of giving another 20% discount and not accepting an advance will impact cash flow from the sales perspective. Every role, everybody in the organization is involved in cash flow. How many of them are really ensuring and able to perceive what is the cash flow coverage? That is the first topic. Second, when it comes to perception, when it comes to thinking, how are you able to connect the cash flow to the drivers in the organization? The multiple drivers, multiple things going on in the organization. Next is in terms of decision making, how can you decide what strategies do you adopt for stabilizing the cash flow and improving the cash flow? And finally, when it comes to acting, to consistently monitor and review. How strong are you in that? That is what that ensures both stability and consistency and capability of cash flow. So that's why all these topics are directly related to mindset, because that evolving such a mindset makes the companies become more successful, not just an individual mindset, but a collective mindset which thinks and works in that direction. Thanks a lot for watching. And before I go, I again ask you for your exercise, which I missed out in the beginning. I'm sorry. Exercise is very simple. Talk to your neighbors, colleagues, relatives, or friends on their perceptions of people interactions, and what do you assume their perceptions would be, and what are the commonalities, what are the differences. Try to get them, and then start developing start a dialogue with them to evolve a common collective mindset. Please do that exercise and let me know what was your feedback. And the other exercise which I had asked you, I don't know whether you did that, just before, just after getting up, look at the room where you are staying and find out how much time did you take to recognize where what is located. And the same exercise you do 5 minutes later and find out how much time you took to locate where things are located. That only gives you the conviction. You will get convinced yourself about the predictions which I'm talking about. With that, thanks a lot for watching. For those of you in India, have a nice evening. For those of you outside India, have a great day ahead. Today, I'm sorry I took a little longer than normal. And tomorrow, I'll get back to normal. My deviation was unacceptable today. It is something which is, I need to take care of that, because I wanted to look at the chat window today. So I added one more window, so it become a little confusing. I've got 3 windows. One is a YouTube video window, live window, then the chat window, and then my 3-year business plan. These are the 3 windows I've got in my computer. So this additional window caused a little problem. So thanks a lot. I'll manage that tomorrow, correct it, and see you tomorrow then. Thank you. Goodbye.